wearing my Carroll Dragons attire tonight. Southlake, Carroll, Texas. The Dragons. Gotta love the Dragons. Brock Boyd, the final Ohio State Buckeye commit who is still active in the playoffs as of tonight. I'll let you know how that game went. Currently watching the Boise State Broncos and the Washington Huskies as the Huskies of the Big Ten whooping on the G5 Boise State Broncos 24-3. Damon Williams Jr. with 3 touchdowns late on a Saturday night as award season is officially wrapped up this evening. And the Buckeyes for the major awards, Jeremiah Smith, we talked about him yesterday. He was snubbed for the Biletnikoff by Makai Lemon of USC, who is an excellent wide receiver. Arvell Reese was up for the Butkus Award in the final 3, and he did not win that. Jacob Rodriguez, Texas Tech linebacker, won that, and he deserved it, in my opinion. Arvell, in the second half of the year, just didn't put up the stats that could compete with Jacob Rodriguez, and you could probably make an argument that in the second half of the season, Sonny Styles was the better Ohio State linebacker, just based off of the way they were used. And Sonny really coming on strong. Guy just gets better every game. Caden McDonald was up for the Outland Trophy, given to the best interior lineman, either offensive or defensive side of the ball. He did not win that, as that went to Spencer Fanu of Utah, who is an excellent lineman, both excellent players. And when in doubt, right, you give it to the guy that is not at the Ohio State or the Bama. You give it to the other guy. That's the way it goes. The flip of the coin goes to the guy that doesn't go to the major brand name school. We've learned this over the years. And of course, the Heisman Trophy presentation was tonight, and that went to Indiana's Fernando Mendoza, who gave a very long, sweet, as much as I can call another man's speech sweet, it was sweet. And the kid, he's just an endearing kid, man. He's an endearing young guy. Loves his mom, loves his grandma. You know, it's hard to dislike the dude, right? If Ohio State didn't have a candidate in there, like, I'd have been rooting for him hard to win this thing. And he did win it. And cool story, cool for him, cool for Indiana, that now 2 years in a row that we have seen a guy, remember Cam Ward last year, went to Incarnate Word out of high school. Fernando, just one Power 5 offer, Power 4, well, Power 5 at the time, to Cal coming out of high school. So pretty cool seeing these guys who weren't, the Julian Sayans coming out of high school, the number 1 quarterback in the class, Elite 11 winner. It's cool watching the underdog story, watching that succeed. Of course, he was up there with another underdog story, Diego Pavia. Diego came in second place. So Fernando got 643 first place votes. Diego got 189. Jeremiah Love finished third with 46 first place votes. Julian, fourth place, but he did get 8 first place votes. Jacob Rodriguez, Texas Tech linebacker, finishes 5th. Jeremiah 6th. Gunner, Georgia's quarterback, finishes 7th. Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss's quarterback, finishes 8th. Caleb Downs finishes 9th. And Haynes King of Georgia Tech finishes 10th. For the Buckeyes, that is 3 in the top 10 of the Heisman. And that is pretty damn cool. That's a pat on the back for a job well done for those 3 and for Ohio State development, strength and conditioning, and everything else. Julian, Jeremiah, Caleb, total studs, and an excellent season, of course, for K-Mac, making it as a finalist for the Outland Award, and Arvell for the Butkus. Of course, Jeremiah getting snubbed. But outside of Jeremiah's snub, none of that's egregious, you know. But the Buckeyes did have one big winner, and that, of course, was Caleb Downs. As Caleb cleaned up, didn't win them all, but he did win the Thorpe, as he joins Malcolm Jenkins in 2008 and my favorite all-time Buckeye, Akron's own, the legendary Antoine Winfield, in 1998 as winners of the Thorpe Award. 3 Buckeyes have won that award, and that's pretty damn cool for Caleb. So the Buckeyes go 1 dude out of 5 who won some awards on the award circuit, as Caleb beat out Notre Dame cornerback Leonard Moore and LSU corner and brother of Ohio State safety Fahim Delane, Mansour Delane. So Caleb not only wins the Thorpe, but he won the Big Ten's Bronco Nagurski Award for the Defensive Player of the Year. Also won the Jack Tatum Charles Woodson Defensive Back of the Year Award in the Big Ten for the second year in a row. And to go along with his Thorpe Award nationally, he won the Ronnie Lott Impact Award that combines on-field and off-field stuff. And that is just typical of a Buckeye, man. Typical of a Buckeye. He was also a finalist for the Nagurski and the Bednarik. Both of those went to Texas Tech's Jacob Rodriguez, who is a worthy player and obviously a great story. And he's married and he's got a mustache and he's got the jaw, the jaw. But it's just not cool to vote for the big behemoth players, right? When the Caleb Downses and the Julian Sands of the world who go to the Ohio States or the Alabamas or the Georgias, it's just, they love the story, man. They love the story. They love the Texas Tech dude that's married and he's got a wife that lives in a different city, and they love Fernando and his story. It's a lot of it. It's about stories, and it's the way this goes, right? It's just amazing to me that that Jeremiah didn't win. Like that's the one that I'm just irked by. The rest of it, like you saw it unfold. Now, of course, Julian will be back next year. I believe that. I think Ryan Day believes that. And I think he'll win next year for one simple reason. Well, two. Number one, he's going to be better, right? He's going to be better next year. He gets better every week. But number two, the schedule next year includes Texas and Michigan and Oregon and USC and Indiana, Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois. Ohio State will not be in the position like they were this year for 8 games out of the season where they go into the game instead of with a game plan deciding how we're going to win the game. It's what are we going to work on today, right? They actually have to go into the game putting a game plan together of the number one priority is we actually have to win this football game. How are we going to do that instead of what set are we going to work on? What personnel grouping are we going to work on? That right there didn't leave for a lot of suspense. It didn't leave for a lot of excitement throughout the regular season. It's going to be a lot different next year. There's going to be plenty of third and fourth quarters where Julian Sand is down and he's got to make something happen, and he's going to do it. And it's going to be much more entertaining. It's going to be much more exciting, and he's going to win the Heisman. Now, the way he was treated by the Heisman media junket, I hope it really sticks in his craw, like losing the award stuck in JJ's craw. Because if I was him, I'd have been super salty by this. This is the media junket room, and you can see there's a span around the room here, and you can see the press gathered around Diego Pavia. You can see the press gathered around Fernando Mendoza, and you can see the press, the single guy gathered around Julian here. Take a look at this. There's Julian far right. There we've got Diego with a swarm of people. And then there's Fernando with a swarm of people. And look at this. Our little Julian, just one guy. And the guy's just like, he doesn't even look like he's talking to him. Now, I understand that Julian doesn't give the most exciting sound bites, and certainly those guys are going to give you better ones. Diego won't shut up. I'm sorry. Fernando won't shut up. Diego won't stop making a jerk of himself. Guys, I knew he rubbed people the wrong way. It wasn't until tonight, all the videos that came out from these guys arriving at the Heisman ceremony, before they were dressed, then getting dressed, then like everything about this guy, just people hate him. People hate Diego Pavia. They hate his mom. They hate his family. They hate everything about him. And he is just Mr. Joe Cool trying to be Johnny Manziel. But that shot there of nobody paying Julian any attention is just rude as hell, man. Cold-blooded. In addition, I've heard that this is one of the harder media credentials to get into this. There's not much space. They don't allow many people in there. And if that is the case, I would love to know how this gentleman who asked this unbelievable question to Julian got in there. Take a listen to this.
Press one button that kills an Ohio State fan, but you win. But Ohio State beats Michigan for eternity. Would you press that button?
If you could press a button that kills one Ohio State fan but you win the game for eternity. Would you press the button? Was the question. Press a button that kills an Ohio State fan. Guy literally asked that question. I thought Julian handled it well.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to kill a Buckeye fan, but there are some fans out there that maybe would do it just because they know how much the game means. But it's not my place to kill them.
It's not his place to kill Buckeye fans, but he thinks that there are some Buckeye fans who might push the button. I think he's probably right, but I thought that was a pretty smooth answer to an absurdly dumb question. Of course, somebody's going to push that button. It's not going to be Julian. The starting quarterback isn't killing any Buckeye fans. So that was pretty interesting. Now, you got a pissed off JJ. You got a shunned Julian as the Buckeyes head into the playoff. Ryan Day was on the stage with Julian and what's his name? Marty Smith was talking today. And, he was saying Julian's in his first year. These guys, nominated for this award, they've played multiple years. Julian's his first year. I'm really proud of the way he's handled it, being the quarterback at Ohio State and everything that comes with it, being humble. And obviously he's done a fantastic job all year long with all that extra stuff. So I definitely think he'll be back. And neither Ryan nor Julian were wearing white tennis shoes with their suit. Marty Smith was. So big ups to our Buckeyes. I don't know when this is going to go out of style, but I can't wait till it does, man. I don't understand it. The tenant, look, call me old. I get it. Nothing feels quite as good as putting on a pair of Italian calfskin wingtips to finish off your suit when you walk out of the house. And these guys want to wear white tennis shoes. I don't get it. It looks ridiculous. Other tidbits from the day on our Saturday evening update. Brock Boyd, as I said in the beginning, is down to the Final Four in the state championship. So they've pretty much had a pretty easy way through the playoffs. They've destroyed everybody with their hair dyed blonde. This is a South Lake Carroll tradition. They all dye their hair blonde. You guys probably remember pictures of Quinn Ewers with his mullet and his hair dyed blonde back in the day. But tonight they played DeSoto. Now DeSoto, another Texas powerhouse, and the game comes down to the wire. It's 44-51. South Lake Carroll is down, and they get the ball down to roughly about the 7-yard line. And on fourth down, snap the ball. Brock goes on a slant, absolutely mugged, no flag. And quarterback Angelo Renda, who is a Pitt commit, runs it. And he gets right about, man, you could see two guys closing. He's right there to the goal line. First guy hits him. Second guy hits him, spins around. From our vantage point, looks really close, but the referee right there calls it a touchdown. Right there. And the guy in the back line guy, comes up and they have a conversation and they call it off. Unbelievable. Here's the play.
What? Here it is. They can.
They probably made the right call overturning that. I don't think he got in. But I do know that as you watch this here, this is Brock right here in front of us, number one. This is one of the guys that got in on the play, on the tackle. He's literally draped over Brock as they got him bracketed. Like, you're not beating us, anybody but you. And it looked like they were ready to take the penalty if they had to. You take the penalty, you get half the distance, and now we're talking a different run. The penalty wasn't called. I talked to Chris Boyd today, Chris, Brock's dad, one of the coaches. He said there was a ton of egregious calls And it does not surprise me, man. Texas football is great. It's also, I don't know how much I trust it. Look, as a certified Dragons fan at this point, I'm pissed. I'm really pissed about this one. They made the right call probably on the touchdown or lack of touchdown, but that penalty, it was almost like DeSoto was like, all right, you got us. They just wrapped him up, but you can't do that. You can't do that. So no longer is there a Buckeye commit still in the playoffs, as Southlake will not make it back to the state championship. They lost last year in the state championship, a game that Brock set the record for the most receptions ever in the Texas State Championship game. And that kid going to be a superstar. Now we're going to do our, I was working today on our superlatives for the class of 2026. We're going to do that episode. I said yesterday, not going to do it tonight because it's Friday night. Nobody's going to watch. And unbelievably, a huge episode on a Friday night episode, which was just wild. And I don't know what's going on lately, but the numbers is like just crazy numbers here at Juck on Bucks. I appreciate you guys so much. It's just been kind of wild. If you could, please subscribe and like the show. It almost makes me uncomfortable when too many people watch, because I feel like, man, I don't know all these people. You know what I mean? I feel like I know my people, and then you get all these new people. I don't know them yet. You know what I mean? They don't know me. I don't know the first impression I make. It's not always the best, I guess. At least I don't know. I don't feel like it is, but it makes me more nervous because I feel like I don't know them. Really, though, I don't know a lot of people, but I do. I get the general vibe in the comments section from most folks, I think. I guess they represent a pretty small faction. Come introduce yourself in the comments section. Say hello. It'll make me feel better. How about